Now, before we get into that, I do want to do something else, though, because I want to show you guys, this is another example of basically the Trump administration completely dropping the ball. And I have so much I want to say about the fact that there were almost no arrests at the protests over the weekend. This is one of the things, like, how many hearings have we had about anti-Semitism, 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 anti-Semitism? The entire Department of Education right now is basically dedicated to fighting anti-Semitism on college campuses. There have been 0 hearings about communist organizing in higher education. There have been 0 hearings about the political organizing activities of the unions. And in fact, when Antifa is publishing in the open about what they're going to do in this country, when Antifa is publishing openly about attacking ICE facilities, calling for other people to attack ICE facilities, it kind of seems as though the Trump administration isn't even paying attention. They just completely goes over their head. I did a live stream on my Substack. I uploaded it to YouTube yesterday, but I did this live stream, I think, on Friday, where people on my channel were 3 days ahead of people in the White House on knowing what Antifa was doing. That's just clocked. This is just fact. We knew they were going to attack the Broadview ICE facility outside of Chicago 3 full effing days before the White House even got around to looking at it. And, you know, I've had a lot of comments on my YouTube channel saying, Karlyn, you don't really think you knew before the White House, do you? Because do you think that Trump needs to tell you everything? Okay, conservatives, okay, conservative retards. So what you're telling me is then that the Trump administration knew that Antifa was going to attack the Broadview ICE detention center outside of Chicago, and they did nothing about it. Which is worse? I don't even know which is worse. Did the Trump administration have no clue this was coming at all, and that's why they didn't do anything about it? Or did the Trump administration know exactly what they were doing, and they still did nothing about it? Which do you want? Because there were basically no arrests outside of Chicago on Saturday. There was basically no arrests in Portland last night. We're going to do Portland coverage later tonight. But, like, the fact that the Trump administration is doing this big PR push to say, we declared Antifa a domestic terrorist organization and we are going to take care of it, and we're calling out the National Guard and all this shit. And then they do nothing. They do nothing. And if you actually watch the coverage from Portland last night, and we're going to watch it later. I know people wanted me to stream last night, but I had other things I needed to do. So we're going to watch some coverage of Portland from last night, and you're going to see the police showed up, arrested one person, and ran away. And it was just allowed to continue. And the Trump administration, how many days ago did the Trump administration say they were calling out the National Guard and the military on Portland? Because I've been hearing that for at least a week now. So where the ever-loving F were they? Where were they? Why was only one person arrested? Why does the Trump administration seem to be completely behind the 8 ball regarding what Antifa is doing? It's disgusting. It's disgusting behavior, and they should be embarrassed. So one of the things I want to do is I want to show you guys flat out before we get into the main video today. I want to show you guys that Antifa was publishing what they're going to do on websites days before they did it. And no one in the Trump administration even bothered to look. So as a little pregame, as people are still filing into the stream, I just want to read this article. And this is a really short article, and we're going to have the screen reader read it, so I don't have to read the whole thing. I'll make it bigger so everyone can see it. This is an article that appeared on anarchistnews.org, which is an anarchist website, called A Call for Anarchist Action in America. This article was published 6 days ago, September 23rd, 2025. Let's see what this article actually says.
A call for anarchist action. Once upon a time, thousands of anarchists, amongst many others, took over the streets. On September 17th, 2011, the first Occupy
Putting this in the
protest,
chat so you guys
also
have the
known as
link.
Occupy Wall Street, to receive widespread attention was in Zuccotti Park, Lower Manhattan. By October 9th, Occupy protests had taken place or were ongoing in over 951 cities across 82 countries, although the movement became most active in the United States.
Hang on. I want to try to make this a little bit nicer for us to actually see. I want to try to make this a little bit nicer. Oh gosh, now the whole thing is just messed up. I messed it up. Okay.
A call for anarchist action in America.
We're back here.
By October 9th, Occupy protests had taken place or were ongoing in over 951 cities across 82 countries, although the movement became most active in the United States. By October 2011, Occupy protests and occupations had started in dozens of other countries across every widely inhabited continent. While some Occupy encampments encouraged nonviolent resistance, many others carried out attacks on banks, corporations, and police. On October 25th, 2011, Oakland police attempted to forcibly remove Occupy Oakland, which led to violent clashes. After 2 months of street battles across the states, police had finally cleared most of the major camps, with the last remaining sites in Washington, D.C. being evicted in mid-February 2012.
Okay, I just want to pause there. The anarchists are setting this up to say, look at what happened at Occupy Wall Street, as if to say, we're going to try to do exactly the same thing again now. And here is the thing that we're comparing it to give people an idea of what to expect now. Okay, does everyone get that?
After 2 months of street battles across the states, police had finally cleared most of the major camps, with the last remaining sites in Washington, D.C. being evicted in mid-February 2012. Since the rise and fall of the Occupy movement, life in America and around the globe has only gotten worse. Minus 2015 to 2024 was the warmest decade recorded, with global average temperature reaching 1.55 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels in 2024. Human-induced global warming is presently increasing at a rate of 0.25 degrees Celsius per decade. An increase of 2 degrees Celsius compared to the temperature in pre-industrial times is associated with serious negative impacts on the natural environment and human health and well-being, including a much higher risk that dangerous and possibly catastrophic changes in the global environment will occur. HTTPS. Climate, EC. Access to food and healthcare are being restricted in the United States. From the overturn of Roe v. Wade in 2022 and the series of executive orders targeting protections for trans and gender nonconforming individuals to increase stringency of food stamp eligibility, the average rent in the United States rose from $810 in 2007 to $1,650, while the median household income rose from $50,233 to $62,192, meaning that the average household went from paying 19% of their annual income to rent in 2007 to 31% in 2025. In 2007, 319,382 individuals were deported from the United States. As of August 2025, 332,000 individuals have been deported, many without due process. The U.S. is on course to surpass all previous numbers by the end of the year. Additionally, the U.S. has halted asylum hearings, HTT, and currently detains individuals awaiting a determination on their immigration, HTTPS. www. The Overton window continues to shift increasingly rightward over the last several decades, including but not limited to an increased acceptance of human rights violations when applied to immigrants, unhoused people, people of color, etc., an increased acceptance of extreme right, white supremacist, and neo-fascist ideologies, increased support for privatization or elimination of social programs, such as food stamps, Social Security, public schooling, etc., a swing towards traditional values, e.g. prenatalism, patriarchy, economic eugenics, etc., As of July 2025, there are around 118 white nationalist groups operating in the United States. This number is down from previous years, but not because white supremacists have changed their views. This decrease reflects a reality in which white supremacist ideas have become more mainstream, making it tactically effective for hate groups to simply merge with the governing body of America.
Okay. So they started off the article saying, here's what happened during Occupy Wall Street. The midsection of the article is like laying the groundwork. It's like saying, here are all the ways in which capitalism is failing society. So it's saying, we did this really cool thing in Occupy Wall Street in which no one really stopped us until months after we started doing it. And oh, look at all the material conditions in which capitalism is failing us. And now that they've set up the scenario that the anarchists, Antifa, believe that we're working in, now they're going to go into the call to action.
This decrease reflects. So, what better place than here? What better time than now? Since many of us already know that there's no safety in getting old, our anarchy doesn't surrender to the walking corpse of time. Whether it's 2011 or 2025, we continue to find ourselves oppressed by the same capitalism and the same statism, but with an advanced technological advantage weaponized by state power.
We continue to find ourselves oppressed by the same capitalism and the same statism. Remember, Antifa believes that capitalism and the state, the government, the United States are inextricably linked because they believe the United States government and the Constitution were grounded in capitalism.
Emboldened by Trump's second presidency, those in positions of power will prefer us all to remain confined to victimhood, preoccupied with trying to afford rent and submerged in social media drama. The president himself could only hope that we drown ourselves in apathetic depression and self-destruction.
And here it is.
What is anarchy if not a refusal to comply? An attack on institutions of power? Or an exploration into becoming ungovernable, even if only for the simple adventure of breaking out of mind-numbing routines? To channel hopelessness into a frenzy of outbursts, illegal street raves, nocturnal smash and grabs, or spontaneous attacks on institutions across America could be more fun than simply spending what's left of our lives complaining about how bad things are. Every fist that hurls a piece of concrete through a bank or an IC agent's car window has the potential to ignite a wildfire.
Okay, I want to stop there. So people have been asking me, Karlyn, what does Antifa hope to achieve by protesting outside of ICE facilities? Every fist that hurls a piece of concrete through a bank or an ICE agent's car window has the potential to ignite a wildfire. They are trying to ignite the spark of the revolution. That is what they're trying to do.
Every fist that hurls a piece of concrete through a bank or an IC agent's car window has the potential to ignite a wildfire. At this point, what's left to lose? The only life we've been permitted to have is a portfolio of experiences celebrating our dedicated submission. For some of us, chaos and destruction are the only activities in which we experience life as liberated creativity. Our desire to destroy.
Chaos and destruction are the only activities in which we experience life as liberated creativity, creativity outside of capitalism, creating a world apart from capitalism.
Our desire to destroy what destroys us is an art form that can't be bought by better wages or government reforms. We don't need the divinity or guidance of a new future, a progressive politician, or an organization. With the ammunition of love and rage, we reclaim our lives with every momentary rupture against a world that can never be voted away.
Against a world that can never be voted away. Antifa does not believe in elections. Antifa does not run for political office. They are not the same as the Democratic Socialists of America. They believe that they are fighting against a world that can never be voted away. And here's the last paragraph.
We invite all anarchists across the country not only to occupy and disrupt operations at IC facilities in every city, but to celebrate life with fire against the death march of American law and order. With tactical diversity, let's meet in the streets and wage a carnival of war against IC and all authority.
So that's pretty on the nose, isn't it? I know it takes them a minute to get there because communists write in very flowery language. This is what you have to get used to if you want to understand socialists and communists. But let's just read that last paragraph again, because that's really the call to action in this whole thing. We invite all anarchists across the country not only to occupy and disrupt operations at ICE facilities in every city, but to celebrate life with fire against the death march of American law and order. That means set police cars and buildings on fire. With tactical diversity, let's meet in the streets and wage a carnival of war against ICE and all authority. So you're telling me that 6 days ago, on a very prominent anarchist website that the Trump administration or minimally someone in the FBI should absolutely be reading, they released a massive call to action telling people attack ICE facilities, wage a war, wage a carnival of fire. And the Trump administration did nothing. They did nothing. There was no National Guard outside the Broadview facility in Chicago. There was no National Guard in Portland last night. There were barely any arrests. They've already declared Antifa a terrorist organization. Okay, so you're telling me that you're allowing terrorists to literally gather outside of ICE facilities to attack them, and you're still not doing anything? Guys, I'm sorry. The National Guard should have already been at all the ICE facilities over the weekend, and this shouldn't even be controversial. Like, I can get on a plane and I am in New Hampshire. I can get on a plane and be in Portland, Oregon in about 6 to 8 hours, depending. Why is it impossible that the Trump administration knew about all this stuff a week ago and they still did nothing? And if you think I told you that anarchists aren't Antifa, then you're too retarded to be in my audience. I thought you told us that most of these people aren't Antifa. We are on an anarchist website right now, reading anarchist material. Antifa are anarchists. Conservatives trying to own me because they didn't get the answer that they liked, and they're going, "Oh, I thought you said this," because they're trying to feel like they got one over on me because I won't tell them what they want to hear. So, do I think that Trump is going to do anything to stop Antifa and to stop the violence and to stop the rioting that is going to continue to ensue outside ICE facilities all over the country? No. No, I don't think they're going to do anything. I don't think they have any handle on this at all. Not in any way. I think they aren't even paying the minimal of attention to the things that Antifa is publishing publicly on the internet, because if they were, they would have known this information ahead of this weekend. And I promise you they didn't, because Stephen Miller started announcing stuff over the weekend, which tells me that he only found out about it over the weekend, whereas we found out about it several days prior because we actually pay attention to what anarchists are publishing on the internet. So do better, Trump administration. Do better. Because right now, I am absolutely not impressed. Do you think someone in the Trump administration is in on this? No, I just think the Trump administration is incompetent. I think the FBI is incompetent. I think Trump's advisors don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I think just like most conservatives, they think they know everything about the left when in fact they know nothing about the left because they never bothered to actually study their enemy. I think they know nothing. And this is why, guys, people ask me all the time. They say, Karlyn, what do we do? What do we do to fight the left? What do we do to fight the left? And I say, the first thing you have to do is sit your ass down and learn about the enemy you're fighting. If you are unwilling to unlearn all the bullshit talking points that you have been told, if you are unwilling to sit down and actually listen to the real far left, if you are unwilling to do these things, there is nothing that I can give you to do, because you're just going to keep screwing it up over and over and over and over and over again. The reason that Trump is screwing this up is he has no clue about Antifa. They have no clue. Pam Bondi has no clue. Kash Patel has no clue. And I'm not even convinced that anyone working for them has any clue. And I'm not just saying this because they didn't do anything over the weekend. I'm saying this because I know people in government And everything that I have heard from people that would, quite frankly, know better than I would, every single thing that I've heard tells me the Trump administration doesn't know what the F is going on because they never bothered to learn and study their enemy. So that's what we do on this channel, guys. We learn about our enemy. We study our enemy. We know what our enemy is saying. We know what our enemy is doing. All of the information that we get comes directly from the left. There is no filter. There is no narrator. There is no middleman. There are no clips taken out of context. We watch the full content on this channel, and that is what we're doing.